I mean, I thought you were just telling me your Halloween costume, Hap, to be honest. But, you know, just maybe a little bit more of those kind of immediate collapses into sight. Things like, you know, we're going to Archives Armory first, most likely. Maybe we'd bring out that kind of Monty immediate push from the balcony. Get the plant down as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that goes your Monty push.
Util. It does indeed. Never mind.
See, I was so ready to start this off because Chan was like, oh, we have about 1 minute and then we go into game. So it's like, okay, great. Like, you're going to talk first. You're just going to completely fill that minute. And then when it comes to me, you can throw out, do not attempt to board the helicopter. And that, you know, that was going to be my point. But it's completely sidetracked as I went first.
I reckon one day they should do, you know, when like they do the fun modes in Siege where it's like little themed. They should actually do a mode where it's like a team deathmatch or something, but you actually have to board the helicopter, and it's the first team to actually board the helicopter as a full stack. Or maybe at least everyone gets in the helicopter, and then you've got to hold it for like 20 seconds. I'd play that. I'd play that. Yeah.
But how do we get to the roof of border?
They'll build like a fake.
It would almost have to become like some kind of horde mode.
I just think it'd be funny, like leaning into the meme that's happened for like ever, you know? Like it should just be like a
horde of sentries or strikers coming after you. Yeah. And you have to board the helicopter to survive. Anyway.
That'd be horrendous. They would get so many different pieces of util as well. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they build a staircase somewhere so they can actually go up. You have to go through the map to actually get there. The map became a maze. Just fighting of hordes of sentries. Either way. We're underway with the second map of this first series. As Panahone managed to win that very first, take it into their own hands. And now are looking to close things off, but it's just a tiny but. Though we are playing on border, and that is usually a map that often leans into quite some aggression. Basically, as soon as you're in the map, you can see the site. Like, as soon as you're in the building, the site is next to you. That's how fragile the map is as well, and it makes for very interesting kind of plays. And often you do see the attacks stay outside quite long, working their angles as much as they can from there, before really entering the building itself.
Certainly so. I think it's a little bit of an early alibi that they've come across. And again, I really do love that from Lambe. I do love alibi when it comes to border. I think it's a really underrated pick that we do get to see sometimes. Like, again, think about how aggressive it is. If you can bait people with the alibi clones, you get a lovely bit of early info, which you can often go for these super hyper-aggressive swings yourself from. So I love the fact that they have chosen to bring something like the alibi out. Right now, again, for Project Zero, they can't really jump in just yet. However, dealing with Flexi, that's the A-Scon. That could really cost them in the late round.
Oh, at least they managed to find a smoke and the Legion as a return, though. So lots of utility off the board. Now, you basically just have the magnets that Nissa brings. And you have those Tubarão canisters, the Soto canisters, that can be used to delay a breach. But as Lambe... it's going quite low. He's actually going to have to think of exfilling that area, but cannot really do so. He's unaware of the fact if someone's outside of that doorway or not. And as Hova is coming in to provide some support, the track is already there. Nisu at least will find a kill for his efforts, and that will allow Lambe to start falling back whilst being tracked, nonetheless,
I'm reloading.
by Uper. He's found himself in the middle of CCTV right now, and as the track of the death mark concludes, onto the drones they go. We're in a 3-on-3. With a minute left on the clock. Septic still has the fuser in hand. That is a change compared to some of the previous rounds we've had. And as Tubarão is now being tracked, it is also instantly Septic finding the kill. A bit of a bait, perhaps, coming through from Uper and Septic together, as they find themselves with the opportunity to enter site now. Plant going down. 45 seconds. Lambe, as he's trying to find a fight, a little bit of damage done, but he actually needs to get the swing through to stop this plant from happening. Will not be able to find that kill. Nisu in a 1v3, shut down instantly. Groovy from the window will shut him up, and that means that it is a round number 1 in favor of Project Zero. Very decent start from them. Panahone, even though whilst fighting quite well, in the end there everything kind of just fell apart.
did again. I think they went a little bit too passive there. Like it felt a lot more equal in the first half between the two teams, right? And then in those final moments, it's like, okay, Project Zero, they're collapsing into a very classic execute. It's very 1D. You know someone's planting around the corner. You know someone's trying to hold for it. So you've got one player that you have to really worry about there. Of course, there is the threat factor that someone might push in towards Office or Metal, but again, maybe a lack of information on the sides of Panahorne there for them to react to. Certainly, again, a lack of wanting to go gung-ho, which again, I really hope that they can find a little bit more confidence in the server at the moment. The EDD is coming out from Rastin. I do love that, especially on a map like Border. Again, these moments of explosive gameplay can really be hindered. They can be really shut down by a cheeky little Capcan trap around the door. Especially if people do start to bring out more shields, things like the Blackbeard, for example. Can certainly be caught off guard by a cheeky double stack up of an EDD.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
It's been a while since I've seen a kill with them, actually.
Yeah, same. I think, but if anything, that's kind of a good thing because it means that people are spotting them out and they are kind of being a bit more aware of their surroundings, which is what we kind of want to see.
Do you still remember the good old times when you had the laser coming up across?
Here he goes.
Anchor in the background. Instant kill when someone would walk through.
Old man
Only
haters.
3 in pocket. Oh, there goes Uper. Instantly shut down. That's a big one as well. Losing the Deimos. You're not going to have the opportunity to track as freely as you did before. Rastin finding quick as well. And suddenly you find yourselves in a 2-man advantage. Exactly what Panahorne wanted after that last round.
That's really great for Panahorne. They're starting on a really strong footing here. Again, just taking that initiative, going a bit freaky with it, getting 2 picks under their belt. It has not been traded by Project Zero. Flexi is going to take out Halva. That's the Toxic Babes off the board, but they're still at that man disadvantage, and there's still a lot of C4s to play around if they need it. And again, they're holding onto this top floor. Project Zero still have to push towards them. They still have to try and get this clearance. Might see a bit of rotation from Gribby. Might try and push through Workshop, to be honest. Doesn't have any Selmas left in pocket, though. He might just be that little bit of pressure coming from Lobby if he is able to rotate out and down. Seems like he is just sticking with that top floor, though. Again, they don't want to split up too much. They do have that player disadvantage, so it is a sensible choice to make instead of being like, okay, let's get multiple dimensions going. They're choosing to go for the safer option. Great work. Perhaps an accident, though. Ruby opening up into East Stairs there. Gonna take out Rastin. Those EDDs will still be out and about though, Hap.
If that was an accident, we call it a happy little accident. As Flexi wanted to take the fire, the second one popped up, will lose his life as a result of it, but almost was able to actually catch Nifsu off as soon as it started to rotate back. Septic, as he's eyeing up the site, he's the last man standing. The helmet of Bandit will slowly peek around the corner as Lambe just casually drops the last 2 remaining attackers. They will equalize the scoreline. This wasn't a very aggressive kind of round, so to say. It took quite long until everything started to play out. Besides the first 2 entry kills, those were very quick. But after that, it took quite a long time.
Lambe. This is exactly what we wanted to see, my friend. Starting to get back into the feel of things. Some really nice and impactful picks happening so far. This is what I'm talking about. You know, Panahorne, we know the potential. We know what they can do. It's a case of them shaking things off and doing it on the day. I love the fact that he's bringing out Ellen now as well. We've seen, again, such a massive uptick in Ellen's of theater. Those stuns are so powerful. And especially on a map where people are going a little bit more fast and furious. The stun can be really a massive benefit, you know. Not only do you get the kind of desired effect of your opponent being stunned and their vision being a little bit backwards, it's the fact that you also get a little bit of an audio sense there. So you can swing aggressively into someone that's not gonna be as effective at taking that fight against you. Loads of utility on the side of Project Zero, though. Yeah, again, they've had so much bang for their buck bringing out that Deimos at times as well. Bringing that Capitao alongside the Grim Bees, it really does allow them to take clearance pretty fast. They faffed about a little bit last time. Still got the execute off though, despite going very 1D with it. Let's see if they can hold on to some more of these bodies. Go for something with a little bit more split pressure. Ooh.
Lambe taking slight amounts of damage and now kind of in a tricky situation as he's behind the CCTV desk. You hear people walk like outside of his actual window as Hova is opening up some ways of support. First minute's about to strike. He's coming in, the EMP's coming in, they're just trying to get some initial information. The smoke is out there to cover up. The grenade is actually perfectly placed. Somehow doesn't kill Rastin. Nick, however, will find Uber once more. The Deimos going down before getting any of those tracks out. Not really getting value out of that operator pick. And I was gonna say, like, especially on this map, all these walls, almost all walls are soft. If you're starting to track someone inside the building, you're basically just like a few meters away from getting into a gunfight at any given time. As Lambe just snuck back in. Doesn't seem like they're fully aware as the fire will find Rastin. Double incendiary bolt used. As he might have been overstaying his welcome a little bit on that part of the map.
Certainly so, but again, it's a massive utility investment just to remove one player. However, it was for smoke. Oh, beautiful shot, Nick, dealing with Flexi. Swerve Gruber just around the corner. Can't waste too much time faffing about here for Gruber. You do have to try and get someone else in a position to go for that pinch with you. Ooh, but they're very aware. Backup works both ways. Nifsu dealing with Quick. Nick will finally deal with Groovy. Poor Skeptic now left at a 1 versus 4. What can he do? Not a lot. No more beers left. Just has to try and scrap his way out, but he cannot. Nifsu from the back. Sees Pixel. Oh, he doesn't. He just goes for a spray and pray. Fair enough.
You know, sometimes you just gotta send it. Just gotta send those rounds out. After Benz, what do we expect? I mean, the Deimos hasn't really had any impact, although it is very annoying. I think a Capitao, yeah, it must be.
Yeah, surely.
The one piece of utility that can remove that one player out there. Let's see what it comes down to. Oh, okay.
Well, that makes sense too. No, that does make sense. Again, like, we've seen Newport really apply so much pressure every single round.
Of course.
Like, yeah. It's just the nature of the beast when it comes to that death mark, right?
I mean, I said it as well. It's like, Deimos would be my pick, but Uber hasn't really been able to get any use out of it, considering he's been, like, spawn peak twice. Not really spawn peak, but, you know, like, entry pick twice. And also, he did get some tracks out on the first round. Wasn't able to lock off a kill on the back of it. So, I wouldn't think they were too bothered about it, but, I mean, fair play. You know, just forcing Uber into a different objective, so take something else that can scan the IQ.
I rate the IQ. I think that's going to be really helpful this round as well. Look at how many goodies Panahorne are bringing to the table. You know, you've got the Spec IO. Got those Mozzie pests as well. That's going to be a massive hindrance if they're not dealt with. Especially combined with the mute jammers, right? So a lot of info denial coming out from Panahorne. They're wanting to kind of render Project Zero blind. It is a sensible thing to do. Again, aggressive map, aggressive team. If they had limited information, and again, if that Go Could Be Cool comes through, you're close enough to a mute jammer, at least you can kind of cover yourself somewhat.
I'm actually gonna ask you a question, considering you were just naming a bunch of gadget names. It's the question I always ask when I was like, you know, we were rotating cast during majors. It's like, do you know what the name of Sledge's sledgehammer is?
Charlie.
Oh, it's not Charlie. Like the actual gadget name. It's not a sledgehammer.
It's not a sledgehammer?
Well, I mean, it is a sledgehammer, but, like, it has an actual name.
Tactical breaching hammer.
I mean, yeah, that's what it says in the overlay, but that's not the initial name.
Caber?
You know, yeah, it's the Caber. There you go.
I cheated. I looked it up. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna take credit for that one. I'm too truthful. I'm sorry.
Okay, you're the first person that cheated on this test.
I cheated on the test. I'm so sorry. What shame. Rastin falling, no more goos can be thrown out. But he's just going to stick himself on cams, nice and happy. Again, info really will be the name of the game with this round. Given the util we're seeing on both sides, the Grimbees, Vidoka Bees in the pockets of Project Zero. Housecam, Spec.io, Pests. Ooh, speaking of Pests, Support's going to be one. Dealing with Nick. Applying a lot of direct pressure to his top floor. Remember, the key factor is you get in, you start to clear Armory, you use that skeleton key in the pocket of Groovy to work that Verti. At least that's the El Clasico way of working towards that site. Skeptic, beautiful stuff, just getting stuck in, doesn't even care. Going in through lobby, dealing with Nifsu, 5 versus 2. If they can get Flexi up, which I assume they will. Woo.
It's a fuser. It's going to be some pain. The fuser dropped a minute left on the board. They need to recover that sooner rather than later. Groovy's done that. However, still players all around. Taking care of that fire extinguisher, popping some smokes because of it. As Hova running around, aware of the fact that someone could still be outside of his balcony. Using the Spec.io to see if a plant is coming through. Aware of that person if Groovy dies. I mean, not only is that the diffuser, but it would also mean that he now has safe space to jump. Jumped out the window again. Did he go into the rappel? I'm not completely sure. I believe he did. And as Hova is still playing around and lurking around, there's not really any pressure coming through. If it wasn't for Septic with that Ash, the plant now being attempted. Lambe shooting down quick. It is a 2-on-2 suddenly. Not really in anybody's favor, but as the drop comes in, it's Gribby forced off the plant. Now having the opportunity to retry once more. Lambe in a 1v2, does he have the vertical? There's no one up above. He cannot quite find it. And thus we're counting down in favor of Project Zero. As the diffuser is ticking. The attackers have, well, one of them at least, have left the building. The pre-fires attempted. Flexi just barely getting away with his life there as he falls back even more. And one outside the window. Lambe definitely not in the best of spots as he's swinging wide, gives away his game, knows about the one on the main stairs that he gets, but 6 seconds before he needs to start this defuse, he doesn't get it. Groovy on the upside down, repel, shuts it down, and they win another round.
I know he didn't win out that post plant, but it was nice to see, again, Lambe just taking the initiative and really just going back into that classical Lambe things, really just trying to find those heads. Could have easily been a clutch if he had the right angle on the rappel player. Project Zero, faffing about a little bit there. Again, we had this kind of 1 versus 1 happening around Armory when they were trying to get in and free up a bit of space in Armory. That ultimately went in the place of Panahorne. And we also had, again, for ages, Quick was really, really struggling at dealing with the pressure on East. You know, he was in waiting. There's a load of pressure on East still coming out from Lambe, I believe it was. And again, he went down too. And again, for Panahorne, it's like, okay, you're really holding on to things now. You are meeting them head on. You are meeting this aggression head on. And all it takes sometimes is, again, just Project Zero just being like, okay, we need to try and force this plant. We need to try and get it. You touched on that. As soon as that kit went down early in the round, it was like, oh my god, they need to get that because that's going to be a real key factor here. I think both sides are starting to meet each other head on when it comes to making fire with fire, for lack of a better term. That you really do have to start playing a bit more around sneaking that objective, forcing that time into that favor, getting that clock ticking, that countdown. It starts to put pressure onto the shoulders of your opponent.
And on we go. This is a bit more back and forth in the opening stages of this map. Like the first map we played, very great opening round for Panahone. After that, 3 rounds, Project Zero in complete control. And the question about it, as Lambe rips open some of these doors, of course, playing around with that Boss G. Single shot often enough to down who's on the receiving end of it. Makes it a scary weapon to face off against. Because you could go for an ego peek, but if he just gets off one shot, like you're done for. No matter if it hits your chest or your head. And it's Quick opening up the window. Actually, one of the players getting quite close. Not quite sure who it is. It might be Hova. I think it is Hova. Falling back instantly as well. Not sticking around. No, it's Nifsu. Okay. He's playing close around the archives. Of course, we are in Teller's bathroom. quite a lot of room that needs to be taken. Flexi down below has a active ping on a player, together with a bit of a phone call as well, but they're aware of the fact that someone's around in customs. Lambe will find a kill for his efforts. It's going to be hurting Project Zero a little bit, because he was spotted before. It was a bit of a whiff coming through, but at least it's a 1-for-1 trade.
Beautiful. U-Paw will go down. Right back and forth on both sides. Is the trade going to be there? No, it's not. You see quick dealing with Rastin. Back to 3 versus 3. Very intense, and again, a very scrappy on both sides. Both teams really falling into this fireball. Okay, find those bodies, take those swings. Be a little bit freaky with it, but get obnoxious if you need to. However, aware there's someone approaching. Shotgun to the face, deals with Flexi. There's additional pressure. That pinch coming in a little bit too slow for my liking. It's left a little bit of a gap here for Project Zero. They have to try and redeem it. They have to try and patch it up. Quick upstairs, still trying to apply the pressure above. To give Ruby a little bit of breathing space. 25 seconds, Hap. Can they do it?
It's going to be tough, especially with the diffuser dropped and Quick being the last man alive. At least he will find Nick. With 16 seconds and the diffuser still up top, he's going to have to make a choice, and the choice is to go for kills. Jumps over the balustrade. Knows of one in the sandwich, knows of one in the bathroom. Which is he going to find first with a punch as he swaps over towards the bailiff? We'll find one. No, not even Hova. With the shotgun, we'll find the head before the bailiffs find his own. And Panahone get themselves another round on the board, as they are at least 3 in for this half. Quick,
tech pause.
like normally we have a post EP, you know, post plan. Do you have anything for tech pause? Tech EP?
I can call it Tech EP. That makes sense.
I'm just wondering, is there something for this? Yeah, I was just wondering.
Tech EP is what I'd probably.
It'll be the tacticals, like a techie.
A tacky T.
Techie timeout. Yeah.
Tacky T. Post EP.
Developing new lingo as we go.
Yeah. There's a very specific part of the UK where people just turn everything into these weird little shortened versions, and I unfortunately am one of those people. This is a very, very lovely map, though. Again, this is kind of really meeting the expectations of what I wanted to see. I think, especially that last round in particular, we're really seeing the gloves starting to come off between these two. And I'm really here for it. Again, I think there was moments where I was a bit worried for Panahone, especially in that bank, right? Because I was like, they've been a little bit passive, some of these players, throughout the season so far. Like, that makes me a little bit worried, a little bit concerned. It's normally a lot smoother. And now they're being a little bit more cheeky with it. A little bit more stuck in. And that's how you need to play Border, right? That's definitely, we've not, you know, it's not like people have kind of been like, oh, we're hiding Border. We've seen Border already. We saw Border last weekend, albeit, yes, it was French teams doing French things on Border, of course. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's nice that we're seeing a lovely little bit of Border come through. It does give people the opportunities to kind of practice, you know, those kind of more fast-paced rounds where the picks are going to be coming through a lot quicker. You can't really dilly-dally as much because someone will just ego peek you through any doorway.
Yeah, I mean, but this is always the thing on Border, right? Like, it can just happen, and it will happen at some point, and most of the time it's sooner rather than later that someone is deciding to start doing some ego peaks. I mean, it cannot get more ego peak than running a boss G, because that quite literally tells your opponent, I just need one shot. That's all I need.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'll be true.
I wanna see more of that action. And again, Lambe in particular, Lambe has definitely woken up now, and that makes me feel really happy because I was a little bit concerned. I think Lambe again is just a phenomenal player. I think there's definitely something to be said where, like, I think out of all the Finnish players, like in particular, you know, Lambe is one of those players where a lot of people over the years have kind of stolen him for a lot of mixed rosters as well. And it has been good for reason. And this is, again, like players like Oscar, for example, have played with Lambe, and I think there's a lot to be said there. And when we look kind of through history for the last few years at the progression of Lambe as well, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, Lambe, we want to see you get to those next heights. It's just at the moment there needs to be consistency. And Lambe has hit the ground running during Border, which again, lovely to see him really getting into the swing of how things typically tend to be played on Border.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but this is the important part of of any player, right? Like, consistency is key. If you only pop off like once every 10 games, like, a team cannot build on that. Like, you need to consistently be able, like 9 out of 10 games, preferably even more, you need to be able to just do those basics, and then from there on, you know, if you do them, you can have these pop-off games every now and then. So, like, consistency is key, and that's for teams, that's for players, that's for coaching staff, that counts for everybody. And you know, like, of course people will be striving for perfection, but like, if you do that, you'll probably be worn out quicker than those who are just working to be as consistently as good as possible as they can.
Well, yeah, I think that's a bit an interesting thing, actually, when you think about how many tournaments at T2 there's been, and we've had a few comments from different players, actually, and it's something in particular that kind of Geeky mentioned in the Rumble interviews, right? Where they were like, we're pretty much playing officials like every night. So it's like, yeah, there's definitely something that comes with like consistency and obviously getting a lot of data in officials, and it gives you a lot to work from. But there are teams where if they don't have the kind of same support staff as like, you know, your Geekies and things like that, if they don't have a sensible person being like, rein it in a little bit, today I want you to go for a nice walk in the woods, and I know it sounds like such a strange, like, you need that sometimes, sometimes you need with some of these teams a coach to be like, I think that you need like a tech-free day, so we've got a day off here where there's no officials, able to get that done. We're not scrimming, you're not going to go on and play whatever game until 4 a.m, like some players typically have in the past, not mentioning any
Sleeping
names.
schedules are encouraged, yes. I think a tech-free day is often quite hard to actually get done with these with people that are just constantly scrimming and practicing and getting better. And
it's like there's a lot to be said about kind of having the wellness aspect within a roster and kind of managing your expectations in terms of that, right? And I think it's something that we haven't really touched on that much at T2, but now is definitely the time to be doing so because of the fact that there's so many officials to play. You know, I hope that, like, and I do really feel in my bones that, like, we're going to hopefully see a lot more org investment in T2 soon as well, because of the fact that, like, we have these consistent rosters. We have these rosters that can easily push into the T1 circuit. And I think orgs need to be prepared for that instead of just picking and choosing willy-nilly. That makes it very exciting for stuff on the horizon, definitely for me. But at the same time, it's like you've got a lot of these players who haven't ever been told, no, you have to look after your health. So I think that's going to be a really interesting thing that we're going to start to see maybe trickling through to even the T2 circuit. You know, think about Rogue winning Berlin that time. A really massive factor to the fact that they won was the fact that they really focused down on the wellness aspect of everything and made sure that they were, you know,
shout
getting
out to Bernie.
A little bit, yeah. No, she did absolute glorious work. Like, let's be honest. Like, she did exactly what was needed in those moments. It's like, okay, manage the expectations here. You know, you've got yes, they just had Spoit come in, but it was like, you know, you need to take a player like that and help him realize from the get-go, like, you can't just go crazy with it right now. And I think that was a really good start for Spoit's career personally, that he wasn't just being forced into a position where he was like, not mentioning any names, but I think there's a certain old coach that we know was making his team do some crazy little scrim schedules, and it wasn't really working well for them, was it?
I mean, a balance is always key, and that goes with everything you do, right? Like, you cannot be practicing like 100 hours a week. People will get burned out sooner rather than later. And this is why it's good to have, like, I mean, this is, okay, sometimes I have kids coming and asking, like, hey, so what do we need to do to become esporters? And the first two things I say, and it's hypocritical because I love sugary drinks myself, is like, quit with all the sugary drinks. Like, you know, just water and a banana. That will probably, you know, do the job just fine if you're feeling down on your energy. If you just fueled up on caffeine all the time, Like at some point, it's just not going to be as effective, right? This comes back into consistency. And then the other is like, make sure you look after your physical and mental health, because if either of those two are not in order, you're not going to be able to perform to the level that you want to perform at some point. Yeah. Like, it's just about everything. It's about balance.
Same with traditional sports, really, isn't it? Like, if you know your ankle's being a bit dodgy, you're not going to go and do a massive marathon. Ooh, they've already spotted out that one Grismot on the balcony.
Yep.
So they know, okay, they're going to be setting up quite heavily for that classic kind of armory breach. Let's be careful here. Again, they've got the sense and they've got the blitz. So this does kind of indicate that they want to get stuck in and go for a very utility-heavy immediate push into sight. And given that Quick is on vents here, that does kind of confirm it as well. You can just hold on to this long angle now, looking deep into Fountain at the rotation. Beautiful stuff. Lambe and Halver cleaning up a little bit here. But Flexi's going to be there to deal with Halver in retaliation. 3 versus 3 already. Not even half the round gone, Hap.
Yeah, for sure. And still players are... I'm not quite sure what they were doing there in CCTV still, because the diffuser, I believe, was down on the actual site itself. Yeah, Flexi has that. As the plant now being attempted will give the opportunity to go for the swing as he finds one, but not quite the one that mattered. Rastin. Last alive. 1v2. E1D and an air jet both used to stop him from moving back in, but he will be forced to fight Quick first, who's low on HP. If Quick shows a bit too much, though, the round could be over, but no. Groovy coming in clutch, using his skill, his knowledge to find that final kill, not giving him the opportunity to find 2 1v1s. And the 3-3 equal half is upon us before we go for the side swap.
Yeah, real nice there from Project Zero. I think 3-3.5 is really nice to see. And again, typically I would argue this might favour the attack a little bit more because of how much you can set the tone and pressure on that attack on a map like this. But in between these two, it might be a little bit more different. You never really know what to expect. Again, it will really turn into whoever's taking that initiative from the get-go. Very default bans coming through. Once again, the Monty and the Azami from the get-go.
Nothing really too out of the ordinary there. Ying and Mira gone as well. You know, once more, like Ying is often referred to as a bit of a pocket play, but especially on border. Like, again, the rooms are so small. A single Candela and like half the enemy team is suddenly blinded. So removing that is definitely something that is very understandable.
Yeah, especially because of the amount of pocket strats that come with it. Think even if you... The Ying combined with the Gara hook, you know, we even saw a bit of kind of Gara hook action last week, right? And if you've got the Candelas to boot with that, is
interesting sight, by the way.
To deal with.
We're in customs.
Yeah, not the site that we tend to see too often.
You know, starting off with a pocket TP. I don't know.
That doesn't work. That doesn't. I'll give you a gold star, but it's like a you tried kind of thing.
At least I get a sticker.
Yeah, you get a sticker. Again, a bit of a precarious site to kind of hold on to just because of how quickly the attack can get some immediate pressure points without even having to be that contested. You know, you've got the main kind of big wall here in detention that Quick's gonna try and electrical trick potentially, and then you've got the pressure that comes in through lobby, you've got the pressure that can come in on the windows as well, you've got, you know, passport check. It's a whole chaotic thing right now, so I'm very excited to see how Powderhorn manages, especially as they've got the Blackbeard. They've also got the Buck too, so Nick can just go into CCTV and start to apply pressure above if he wants to. So many options for Powderhorn right now.
Yeah, there's definitely lots of options that they could choose from here. I'm not even sure how heavily CCTV is guarded. There's only a single person out there, is Nifsu, bringing in that Blackbeard shield up close towards the east stairs. They're taking care of the explosive ingredients to make sure that that doesn't catch him in the back later down the line. As he's wanting to clear out whatever and whoever is inside of office. Ruby and Lambe exchange shots, but not quite connecting whatsoever. Nifsu on that shield's about to be swung from the 90 side. Does he have knowledge of this? Definitely does now. After Groovy showed his face, will at least make them aware of the fact that that is no longer safe. But just look at the side of CCTV. There is no one there. No one is there to try and counter it. But then you look at all the utility. 4 nitro cells. Of one already has been used, so still the opportunity for 3 to start fishing. Find any of these players. As Hova finds Ubor again, that's a great start. It's over the top as well. The opportunity to find the cameras is on one of those nitro cells actually does successfully fish one of the players out of the map. It's Lambe gone, and that is going to be your air jabs off the board. Hope they've been deployed beforehand, otherwise lost utility. That minute 10 left on the clock. Nick starting to use some of that skeleton key to start breaching, but he has to be careful because there is still a nitro cell fishing, and there is still a second nitro cell in pocket as well, and both Flexi and Quick, of course, playing close towards that site. With the men advantage now, not really having to be as on it as they otherwise would be. Are they aware of the player inside of ventilation? Well, definitely will be now, considering the fact that the gas pipe just got detonated. This point would be like, just shoot it out, like, end the suffering of the Blackbeard, who's just trying to stall, and they're trying to swing it together. Will be found as well. Not quite sure what Nissa took so much damage to. Oh, it's a team kill even. And the diffuser will be found eventually, as Hova is finding himself near the main entrance. But they need to find where these last 2 defenders are, and one of them is behind the B-bomb chassis. Flexi finding the kill into Hova as he's trying to fall back. Needing to toss in the nitro cell, but it's a bit too late. Cannot quite connect, but the shots definitely will. And Project Zero, with a very chaotic round that, let's be honest, Panahonu had quite a great opportunity of winning.
I mean, even in those final moments, again, I think that team kill really cost them because they could have easily clutched that out. You know, they had a Blackbeard. That's a good bit of kit when you need to try and force your way into a site with limited numbers, but they managed to pick that player. It's just unfortunate that that kind of pinch came at just for wrong timing between the 2 of them. Ultimately resulted in a team kill. That completely flipped the round on its head, to be honest, Hap.
Yeah, definitely did. I mean, they had the man advantage at that point. They had the diffuser, they had the shield, most importantly. A plant could have happened if they managed to keep that in pocket. But it didn't. In Project Zero, they take the lead. Put themselves in charge now for this second map. They need to bring this to the finish line. Otherwise, map number 3 will not be coming in, and that means that instantly Project Zero will be hopping down towards that lower bracket after being first seed of Group A. And again, that doesn't mean anything. Everybody was, you know, making the excuses of the fact that we were just in the seeding games. Grace really got sick of that, literally, of that excuse.
That's why I'm sick. It's the players doing.
But Panano, of course, is the #1 in the standings currently for Tier 2. So, like, even they were last in their group, which was a very competitive group still. Still a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Again, they were phenomenal. You know, all the way through Combine, I was like, wow, that's a team to watch out for. Rumble, they came in and did massive things as well, just falling at the last hurdle. Speaking of falling, Halva's going to go. No more Twitch drones. Be lobbed out. Be a little bit of a hindrance. Especially with those Vulcans. You can't get rid of them nice and swiftly. Could be a little bit of a hindrance when it comes to his final execute moments. Nick, pressure on the window. Getting really aggressive on Sandwich.
Gotta reload.
He's going to cause a little bit of collateral towards Project Zero.
Bastin! What a shot! Flexi had completely the opportunity to take him down. The back turned towards him. And he turns, he puts his C8 right where it needs to be. And he finds a crucial kill. That could be round defining. And with 90 seconds, it is Groovy trying to find at least a way to stop them from coming up the staircase. With the E1D, which will stop him from moving, the flashbang to come in. Groovy found by a player from Office. And Panahone, as they are in a one-man advantage. A big bad Septic moving up but being shut down, and now it's only up to Uper now to see if they can push it to 5, because otherwise we're equalizing the score. Nifsu goes down, he quickly goes around, hits a lot of shots in the second, but the bailiff comes in from the small office as they all dance past each other. But Rastin, what a shot!
Lovely little round for Panahone. Again, they could be a little bit rattled due to the mistakes of the previous round, but they were not. They were absolutely on it. The shots being landed gave them so much freedom. Again, even pressure coming from Sandwich. So many options, so many dimensions, so many angles. That is the nature of Border. That's what you want to try and do. Great work, Panahone. Equalizing now 4-4. Again, even just having it's something we don't really see so often nowadays, but Bertie from below, an oldie but a goldie, still so effective. Again, giving you multiple points of pressure. For Project Zero in those moments, they don't know where to look. It's so effective.
Deploying mine. Up and running.
All 4. And we are getting a close border, a back and forth border, a border where a single gunfight can change the outcome of these rounds. As Rastin basically turned one around in the previous round, is Panahone now with the opportunity of taking the lead once more. Of course, they're one map ahead. Stress will be less with them, more so with Project Zero. Both are giving it them all to take this map home. One to live and fight into a third. One to lock it off and prepare for next week already, I believe, because I mean, we have the quarterfinals today, quarterfinals tomorrow, and I believe we have lower bracket on the Sunday.
Yes, we do.
So winning this means you have the weekend off.
Sorry.
First floor.
That is quite a nice thing. It allows you to sit back, watch what everyone else is doing, more importantly as well. Especially when people start to get their backs against the wall in that lower bracket. That's where people need to bring the big guns out, and you can easily have a little look, get that data. Work out what you're going to do if you come against them. Ooh, Groovy. Really hungry for it. Even opening up extra sight lines here. So you can play way more aggressively from the hatch. A little bit horizontal and a little bit 1D coming out for Panahone right now.
Yeah, but you also have the rotations coming through. As the breach there used by Skeptic, finding himself a kill. The hatch is the big worry point here. Lambay is not going to be able to use that breach fully, considering the fact that it's most likely someone watching in from above. And as the rotates are coming through, I mean, they still have the shield of Nifsu they can use. They probably will just be barging through the hallway and trying to enter in the door and just gonna get that plant down, or they're just gonna push into the bathroom. No, it's just the plant right away on the side itself. As Nick will find a kill, the trade and rotations are starting to come in as they both drop, and Hova finding 2 for his efforts and 45 on his clock. Panahone, they completely read the plan there. It was Project Zero finding themselves in CCTV, using the hatches to try and get themselves a cheeky little take back as soon as that plant started, but instead Hova was ready, found 2 kills on the back of it. And they find themselves in the lead. 4-5, 2 rounds away from locking off this first series.
Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. I love moments like that too, where it's like, okay, we've got the plant down and the setup is in such a way that we've even got cheeky upside down rappels happening. An oldie but a goldie. I love to see it. Absolutely love to see this. And again, this is exactly the kind of map that I expected from both of these teams. You want to see the gloves off. You want to see things get a little bit back and forth. Won't be surprised if Project Zero snuffle up their 5th round now. Again, I want to see that. Maybe we'll see a first overtime of the weekend, Hap. Wouldn't that be
Defenders, protect
exciting?
your bombs from
First overtime already of the weekend on map number 2.
Liz.
Let's see if the teams
attackers
agree.
have located a bomb.
I have a feeling some of them might be trying to speed run an early weekend out. Start working on next week.
Initiate.
I think that neither of these teams will be looking to get an overtime. I don't think any of them want it. Of course, if the next round will go to Panhana, then Project Zero will be rooting for an overtime.
I think you wanna have to deal with the overtime though. Again, I think you can't see it as anything but an opportunity to get more of that additional data, more of that mileage, especially when you want to go against the big doggy dogs of GK, right?
No, you don't want to play overtime. None of these teams want to play over. I've never heard a player that's like, yeah, let's try and get this to overtime. Like, no one wants to do that. Maybe the staff likes it, considering that they get more data, but I don't think any of these players are like, okay, you know, we're 4-6 up, but we really want to play overtime, so, you know, it is what it is. Guess we're playing overtime. You want to win. You want to win as quickly as you can. Round differential doesn't matter, but don't take risks. It's about closing it off as quickly as you can, as dominantly as you can, so you can start going back to preparation for the others. As Rastin opens up the window, smoke canisters instantly in. This is going to be a quick plant happening as Nefsu already inside, getting that plant down. The second jump out will be coming through. Gruby will get a almost down for his efforts, but 45 seconds are already counting, and this is a very quick play from the side of Panahane. Rastin goes down. At least they got it that far. They are also trying to challenge the window, but there's a second upside down repel. A Claymore will find one more, and quick, the last man standing in these 30 seconds that are counting as he drops down right in front of the main entrance. It's Lambe that shuts him down, and Panahane, they find themselves 4-6 up, a single round away from locking off this first series of the weekend. And now, Grace, Project Zero wants to go to overtime.
1,000 gold stars for Panahane right now. 1,000 gold stars. The last 2 rounds, the way they've set up for these post EPs have been absolutely phenomenal. Again, when it comes to those strats like that, where you are forcing that plant in that area, you do need to be careful for that vents run out. You do need a lot of cover too. Yes, initially smoke's going down, glass is covering for the doorway and the rotation. But at least you also have the kind of lens where you can quickly flick to vents. Unfortunately, Gruby whiffing his initial attempt gave a lot of pressure back to the hands of Panahane there in those moments. And again, quick bless him, not being in the right position to effectively use that spec IO. I love a cheeky little bit of Solus action, especially when it comes to denying the plant, but he simply wasn't in the right place at the right time. They had no idea that plant was going down. Great stuff from Panahane. One more round and that's a 2-0. This is exactly the kind of energy we wanted them to bring going into this playoffs bracket.
Timeout has been had. Project Zero don't have any resources available anymore right now to try and lock this off. Bring it over the finish line.
Defenders, protect your bombs from
And Panahane, 1 round away from still what could be a relatively quick series. I mean, last weekend, none of these games were on schedule, Grace. It's like, I think the last 2 games last weekend were on schedule. Now we're finding ourselves in best of 3s, and we're looking to be, like, we're currently, you know, 7 p.m. local time here for me.
Yeah.
We're very close to just, you know, regular 2-mapper timing here. Even though the games have been quite, like, it has been quite close. A 4-7 and now a 4-6. It's not like it has been, like, absolute blowouts.
But it hasn't also felt like that. It's not like it's been complete dominance, right? It's the thing. It's
Yeah, it hasn't
like,
been.
Yeah. It's not been like, okay. And I think in a way it's like, I think even again, I want to go back to my point of like, when I look at the rosters going into the season of Southbreach, I was like, oh my god, this is like the best season of Southbreach yet. This is so good. And I don't think I've been disappointed so far today, and it's only the first series, so I'm like, okay, amazing. Again, Panahorne being a little bit back on their top form again. Still a few things to work out, but certainly really, really promising. Remember, they came last in the groups. Bless them. But they did. Bottom of Group B. Ooh, cleanup happening though. And that's also the Blackbeard gone hat. That's really, really dangerous shenanigans for Panahorne now. They've lost that little bite, especially in conjunction with the Dokkaebi. You've lost those two operators that are going to give you that immediate pressure point if you need it. Things might get a little bit clunkier now on the side of Panahorne. And again, this is where they need to build up that strength of having that shot call come through in the mid-round and executing it effectively and perfectly.
Rastin's inside. He will find one. Nick will go down. Lambe's quite low. Oh, hipfire headshot. Suddenly he's in a 3-on-2 situation. Now the diffuser is still down. There's a minute 30 left on the clock, and as Rastin is just peppering the wall, and every single opportunity he finds, this Jupiter quickly tries to go through the hatch, but it doesn't open up. He loses his life. And a nitro cell used to try and fish for the player that has been absolutely detrimental. Rastin, with a beautiful few kills that came through for his map today. He hasn't had too many, just 5. But all of them have been flashy. All of them have been important. And as he's using the clutch drone to hack some of these cameras, he's at least getting information. Lambe trying to sneak in as well. Where are these defenders? Well, one of them is on site. But what about the second, I think? Near ventilation. Actually, customs. Rastin slowly starting to go towards it. Pings are coming through. I think they've just given away that the player is in fact in customs. And as he's going on his drone to hack the Banshee, that will be beneficial later down the line. Spray coming through from passport door. They know where he is as the breach is being made as well. Lambe, that could be quite dangerous. He has to make a move. They cannot use or allow him to use the rotation. And as the smoke gets popped, it is a bit of a bait. He's waiting for a bit of a move. As they're trying to dig in deep with 9 seconds. They know one's on side. They know one's offside. As Quick finally strikes, he's been biding his time. The shotgun from Skeptic will find the round eventually. But that got way too close from a 5-3 advantage down to a 2-on-2. But they live.
That is so close. Close but no cigar. That is insane work from Panahorne. That could have been one of the most obnoxious clutches this far in this tournament. Putting 0, being able to hold on to it though. Good job indeed. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, we'll just hold these positions. We'll push as soon as we know they're coming in. Not really much to be said when you're on the receiving end of a shotgun to the face either. Great work from Project Zero. Great work from Panahorne. Again, this is exactly the kind of things I wanted to see between these two teams. Christmas has come early. It's only the start of October.
I'm not even thinking of Christmas yet.
You'll be
the
thinking
weather
of
isn't
class.
even cold yet.
Weather may not be cold, but this map certainly is freezing between these two. Like, oh my goodness gracious, this is exactly what I wanted to see last weekend. I get it. People being like, we're saving stuff for the playoffs. This has started things with a bang. This is exactly the kind of shenanigans I want to see on both sides. And again, the ability for both sides to dig deep and start to try and push things back. One more round for Project Zero to bring us to that overtime. But Panahorne, they want to secure this. They want to get this 2-0. They know it's just at the tippy tip of their fingers. They're bringing out the sends.
Oh.
Ooh, a little bit clustered. Ooh, double send through the door. I think that's because he thought he messed up, though. Blackbeard as well. And again, the buck from below. Nick already in customs. Waiting patiently like an adder in the grass. That skeleton key is going to be a nuisance from below. And again, it's about having all these different pressure points, all these different angles. There we are, more sense discs being rolled out. Certainly putting the pressure on Quick already.
RU projectors are actually being new gemmed from that door, so won't be able to open up inside of break. As the first minute passes, a lot of utility's been placed. All the RU projectors are on the board. not be relocated either. Either activated or taken out. There's someone inside! Nick will find a kill. Uber, as he wanted to retake, and a pushover comes in from the Blackbeard as well. Flexi drops. And Panahone, as they lose Hova, at least they have that 1 man advantage still on the board. With 1:30 on the clock, it's plenty of time to work with. Groovy taking small amounts of damage as stuns come through. Falls back into sight, like the rest of his team. Trying to hold off at range, trying to not allow them to move through. Default chem still being destroyed. But Nick and Lambe have had incredible games so far. 13-7, 14-6. Rastin with some of the most flashy shots I've seen all weekend and last weekend. With a minute counting down, they're ready to make their moves. They just need to consolidate themselves. The dots on the I. And press the trigger to execute. Now, 2 are close to small office. They're aware. Nifsu's out there with the diffuser as well, as Nick is deciding to rotate around. I think he'll be going for sandwich window for a last second repel as they're trying to make the entry stick. The grenade comes in, will clear out small box, at least gives them the opportunity to look through as he sees a player, but it's shut down from the side of his viewing port. It is at least Rastin that replies, finds 1, finds 2, suddenly it's quick in a 1v3 situation as he gets shut down. Panahone, they win the map, they win the series from last place in the group, and they will continue down the upper bracket as they find themselves with a weekend off, preparing for the next round.
Oh, well-deserved weekend off, to be honest. Well done, Panahone. Remember, again, not the best of times for them in that group stage.